people, welcome back to my channel. My OGs in the house. I'm saying thank you for staying with me. My new viewers, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. So this gown is a gown I made out from the previous video. I used a single pattern to draft out three styles, and this is one of the styles. So as you can see, it came out this good, and I would like your suggestion as to where I can wear this dress to. And if you'll be repeating this tutorial, tell me where you like to use your dress to go. So without wasting much of your time, let's get to the business of the day. So what I did here was just to cut out the upper piece of the front pattern. So the upper piece has two parts, the side that connects to the shoulder of the back piece, and then the mid piece, which is from the under bust to the half length. So I'm simply cutting it out, as you can see, and I'm going ahead to remove the dart allowance I placed, since I want a single piece at the midpoint. So now I'm using this, I'm simply placing it on a fresh pattern paper, and I'm going to trace it out, joining it at the midpoint. So remember, this will be on a fold, and I need to add allowance, joining allowance at this bust curve area. So I'm simply tracing it out so that I'll come up with a single piece, as you can see. So remember, this will be on a fold at the center front. So I've done the same for the upper part. I've traced it out with my sewing allowance, and for this dart section, what I did was I simply folded it up like this, and I placed it on the fresh pattern paper and traced it out. I do not want to have dart lines all on this pattern, on this part of the dress. So this is why I'm folding up my dart allowance. So now I have a single piece for the midpoint and two pieces for the upper point. So this is simply how I place the two pieces of the midpoint to get my single piece, and I added sewing allowance at this section. I'll be joining to the upper part. So now I'm just going ahead to cut it on my fabric. So this fabric gave me a crazy idea. I decided to make the dress in a way that I can wear it on both sides, both the inner and outer side. So watch me as I create this. So now I'm simply going to cut out my pattern pieces. I'm going to fold place my fabric on a fold, as you can see, and I'm going ahead to cut out the upper piece. So I'm cutting it on a fold so that at the end of the day I will have two pieces. So since I'm making a front and a back cloth, I'm going to cut four pieces for this pattern, for this pattern. So I'm simply cutting it out, as you can see. So I've gotten my first two. I'll go ahead to cut the remaining two. Remember, this upper part, I'll have four pieces. I'll use two to line up the other two. So as we move forward, you're going to see and understand what I'm trying to explain. The next thing I'm going to do is to cut out the breast part. Since I do not want to use bra to wear this, I'm simply going to pad it up. So I'm using foam. I'm cutting out a pattern that I'll use to cut out the breast curve. So this was kind of spontaneous. I did not plan it, but it just came up to me and I decided to make it. So I'm using the upper pattern to trace this out. So I'm simply going to mark how tall I want the pattern to be. So I'm marking it on my pattern paper. So after this, I'm going to cut it out on the foam. So after this, I'm going to cut it out on the foam. So after cutting this out, I'm simply going to cut two pieces and attach it to the front piece, as you can see. So I attached it down below on the part that I'll use to attach the mid piece of this front pattern. So now I'm sandwiching it between the two patterns so that I'll be able to get two sides. Then I'm going to join it at the neckline, and then join it at the side front, the armhole, sorry. So after doing this, I'm going to switch it over and I'll have my two pieces. Now for the band at the neckline, I simply cut out two pieces, which is about 25 inches long and 2.5 inches wide on a fold. So now I'm going to place them like so and join them at the sides and turn it over to the right side from one end. So I have all my pieces right here. So now I'm simply turning this out to the right side. As you can see, now I'm going to place it like this on the upper piece. So see what I'm doing? I'm placing it inside so that by the time I join the shoulder pieces, I'll not have any side seam, any visible side seam. So I'm placing it inwards and I'm going to sew down. So after sewing the armhole, the shoulder side, and then the center front, I'm going to turn it out, and this is what I have. So as you can see, I have two good sides of my pieces. So this is one side, and if you flip it over, you have the other side. So moving on to the lower part, I want a single piece for the lower part. I do not want three divisions for the gown. So I'm simply placing my skirt pattern, which I've drafted out in previous videos. I'll be linking it down below, and I'm placing it together with the mid piece so that I'll simply join it together to get the lower piece. Then I'm extending the skirt downwards to get the full length of my gown. So now I'm simply marking out the remaining part of the fabric, and I'm adding my half-inch sewing allowance. So guys, you just have to try this out and tell me how yours came out. So I'm going to join this like this and cut it out. So it's cut on a fold at the front side, and at the back side I'm not going to cut it on a fold since it will have a slit at the back. So I have my lower piece, and now I'm going to join it to the one I did earlier on, which is the side of the bust. So I'm placing it right side facing right side and pinning both pieces at the center piece of the lower piece. So this might sound confusing, but if you watch closely, you understand what I'm doing right here. So I'm simply going to pin it all around the bust curve, the under bust curve, and sew it together. So I'm using right sides facing right sides, and I will sew it and use my bias strip to turn it over. So I've done this, and as you can see, this is the wrong side. I'll be the other side of the fabric, and it came out this neat. And yeah, this is it. We have our front piece. Moving on to the back piece. So I'm simply going to cut out my pattern piece. And I'm folding it up so that I'll still use this pattern paper for the other styles in this collection. Now this is the skirt of the back piece. So I'm simply going to repeat what I did for the front, and I'll extend the length of the skirt to the hemline since it's going to be a full length gown. So I'm simply extending it to get my actual measurement, and I'm merging it with the upper part of the pattern paper, the pattern piece. Now I'm simply going to cut it out and add my sewing allowance. So what I'm doing here is just to extend the width of at this point downwards to the edge of this cloth to give me the full length of my gown. So now I have it and I've cut it out. I have two pieces on both sides. So now I'm simply going to use a stitch and sew it downwards. But remember, it has a slit, so I'm simply marking where my slit will start, and I'm going to sew from the upper point to that point I marked for my slit. Again, I'm going to fold up this end with my bias strip and fold this other side too with a bias strip, so that at the end of the day I will not have any rough edges both at the front and the back of this cloth. So after sewing, I'll use my bias piece to fold it in. So this is the result, as you can see. Now at this end, I'm simply going to fold it in like so, and I'll sew it down. So as you can see, I'm folding in my rough edges inwards to create kind of a flat felt seam. So I'll do this to the upper part, and I'm going to use a stitch to sew it downwards. So as you can see, I have all sides clean and good. So the next thing to do is to put in my elastic. So I want an elastic at this point, and what I did was I measured the length of that point and I divided it into two. I used that measurement to cut out my elastic piece, and now I'm going to use it to pass through that kind of a channel I created while adding my bias. So I'm passing it through this channel, and it will help to drag it in to give me that the effect I want. So this has helped to pull it in, and if I wear it, it will just lap to my body. Now I'm going to join my front and the back seam using the sewing allowance I added to it. I'll join at this point the armhole to the waist, to the hip, and down to the length of my dress. What I'm doing here is just to check again. I'm dragging the elastic, and I'm checking if it will match with the measurements I have. I'm doing the same for the waistline, and I'm marking the excess divided by 2 to mark on both ends. So this will give me the exact measurement I need for shaping the gown to the size I want. So I'll do this down to the end of the cloth before I'll go ahead to my sewing machine and join it with this allowance. So guys, I've done this, and right here I found out that at the waistline I needed to add an elastic. So I went back again to add the elastic. After doing this, it came out so well. So as you can see, this is our gown. It's ready. I would like to see your comments, to see your own piece if you tried this. Yeah, that'll be all for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for staying with me to this point. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'll be seeing you in my next one, where I develop the other um the other styles from the pattern. Bye.